This is The Dose of It, starring Priscilla and Taylor.
Please keep in mind, we are not medical professionals. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of The Dose of It. This is the podcast where we talk about everything GLP-1 related, so we are so excited to have you here.
Yes, we're so excited for today's episode because we've got a very, very special guest joining us, someone who has been through the GLP-1 journey and is now thriving in maintenance. Annie, welcome to The Dose of It, girl.
I would love to have you tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, just tell us like where your GLP-1 journey started and how long you've been on a GLP-1 for.
So my GLP-1 journey started back in July of 2022 after I found a doctor talking about GLP-1 medications on my dog's TikTok account. Not even ever looking for weight loss.
Oh,
wait, your dog had a TikTok page?
Yeah, I used to be a dog content creator.
What kind of dog do you have?
I had an Australian Shepherd puppy and then another mixed dog.
Wait, that's iconic.
No, I feel like we just got let in on like some like tea that like not a lot of
Yeah,
people know.
I did not know that. I love that so much.
It was like the cute shenanigans of like my Australian Shepherd puppy and his little sister, because that's my dog's dog, not my dog. It's my dog's dog.
Oh, I love that. Okay, an emotional support dog for the dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love when dogs have dogs. That's like the best thing ever.
Yes.
We are like super excited to have you here. I know that a lot of people in the GLP-1 community look up to you. I know that you were one of the first ever like GLP-1 creators that I found. I know Pris feels the same way about you, and I know a lot of people also in the GLP-1 community talk about you.
Yes.
But I think we're super excited to dive into what life after like, you know, taking a GLP-1 is like and like getting into maintenance, because I know that's a question that a lot of people have, like what does maintenance look like? So we're super excited to like dive into this new chapter of like strength and curiosity that a lot of people have. So we're excited.
Yes. I want to start from the beginning, Annie. I want to know what originally brought you to a GLP-1.
So I had been dealing with weight issues for like over 10 plus years, and I had no idea what was wrong with my body. I participated in a lot of like the toxic diet culture stuff to like the crazy workout programs like P90 Insanity, all that stuff. And I would drop some weight and then it would come back with a rebound. And after a period of time, especially through COVID, I just realized that like I couldn't keep it off. Like it just kept on like spiraling. And then at one point or another, I went to a doctor and I was like, I need help. And my doctor was like, yeah, here's a piece of paper with how to diet and how to exercise and what you need to eat. And I just remember feeling so disappointed. Like I keep trying this and it's not working. Like you're not listening. So I remember coming home and just sitting on my couch and crying and just saying to myself, then I'm just going to keep getting sicker and sicker because nobody listens to me.
Yeah.
So I ended up scrolling randomly through my dog's TikTok account, looking at puppy pictures and puppy videos and the kittens and stuff. And randomly a physician was talking about how Mounjaro was going to be changing the world of obesity medicine. And I just remember wondering, what is Mounjaro? And just listening to her. And she's amazing. Her name's Weight Doc, and she's been such a staple in the community. And as she kept on talking, I was like, I have that. How do I get that? Like, so I remember finding an online telehealth and joining them and thinking, I'm going to get scammed. You know, the good old golden days of, oh my God, they're going to scam me. So I signed up, I put in all of my stuff, and they told me you qualify for a GLP-1 medication. It said it was getting sent to the pharmacy. And then I arrive at the pharmacy and they tell me it's going to be $1,300. And I said, excuse me?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Crazy. You said, wait, I think you might have the wrong person. This is not the right one, right?
I just remember, like, I said, yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah,
I will be back.
You know what? 1 second.
You said, do you take Afterpay?
I left my card. Yeah, I left my card in the car. I'll be right back.
I think there might be a coupon, right, that I could use for that.
Well, I didn't know that existed yet.
Yeah.
So I remember going back to my car, sitting in my car, just wondering, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I went back to the original video and I started scrolling through the comments, and somebody said something about a $25 savings card. It was this infamous thing that Eli Lilly had launched. So I went home, I printed it, and I went back to the pharmacist, and he looked at me like I had lost my mind. And I'm like, just process it how it says it right there.
You said, I'm not making this up. I did not get this on Canva.
So he like processes, does his magic. He's like, okay, it dropped down to $25. I swipe my card. I ran out of that pharmacy. Do not come back after me, sir, because I'm not giving you this.
No.
Oh my God. So it dropped the medication down to $25 from $1,300 to $20. Oh my God.
That's how
Well,
many
wow.
people on a GLP-1 got started on Manjaro. Like it was, they brought it down to $25.
Wow.
And so a lot of us had that for a year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and
Wow.
they stop. I assume that did they stop that now? Like you can't, of
Oh, yeah,
course.
of
No,
course they did.
now that's like over the years, it's gone up to, I think right now it's $650. So a lot of the early beginners, we got a $25 savings card and we got, I guess, like, hooked on the medication.
So I just want to say, Annie, that your story really resonated with me because I feel like me personally, I've been in that same position where I'm going to my physician and I'm telling him that this is what I have going on. Like, how can we help how can we help me? And
Mm-hmm.
it's always like a diet or like a toxic diet culture. And you just kind of feel like you've ran out of options. Like, what do I do now? Like, you can't help but just go home and feel so defeated. And so me
Mm-hmm.
personally, and I feel like a lot of women or a lot of people listening can really resonate with your story because I was in that same position that you were in too.
Yeah. No, I also couldn't, like your story definitely I connect with it in the fact of, I remember I told you that I signed up for Weight Watchers and they tried to do like the whole prior authorization thing for me. And they sent it to my insurance. And I remember I got a message too that said that my medication, I think it was Zepbound, was like going to be at the pharmacy. And I was like, oh my God, period. So I called the pharmacy just to see like what my copay was with my insurance. And it was like, yeah, $1,000. And I was like, oh. And then that's why like I gave up on a GLP-1 and was like, I'm not even going to take one. And then, a couple months later, I was scrolling and found Compound and was like, okay, this is different. So I think it's kind of cool how everybody's story kind of like, we all have a similar, like a ground where we all kind of like meet. But I also like would love to know like what were like the early months of like you first taking a GLP-1 like, like were you anxious? Like, did you have a lot of side effects? Like what was like the beginning of your journey like?
So when I first started, there wasn't a lot of people on the internet talking about this. It was so taboo. And I
Mm-hmm.
just remember saying, like, if one person follows me and maybe this helps somebody else with,
Hmm.
their journey, it'll help. And in the beginning, I had like a little bit of nausea, more of the fatigue, but the
Yes.
immediate side effect, because I don't think people understand this, like it's a side effect, was the food noise reduction and the suppression.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first immediate, like, oh my God, I'm not hungry. But then at the same time, and I think this is a big problem, is if you are somebody who has engaged in toxic diet culture in the past and you don't catch that, you go back to toxic diet culture, which is what I did. I went back to starvation mode because that's what I had learned for so long.
Yeah.
And it took a few days for me to realize that I could not engage in those behaviors anymore and that I needed to start eating. So I wasn't a breakfast person. I could drink coffee all day. If you gave it to me, the guy at Dunkin' knew my car. Like he knew my order by heart.
Yeah.
Pre-app ever existing. Like this guy knew me.
He said, I know what
It's
order's coming up.
yeah. And then after a while, he never saw me again until like one time he's like, you don't come anymore. And I'm like, I know, I'm saving money. But you realize that the side effects are there and you're like, how do I manage them? So I had a cabinet full of all the different things, just trialing like what would work, what wouldn't work for me. Those were the good olden days where there wasn't people giving you tips. Like you were the guinea pig trying out supplements and things to help you with the side effects.
Yeah. I love that.
No, yeah. I can't imagine like being, because I think that a lot of us now on our journeys rely on TikTok and other platforms so heavily on the GLP-1 journey. So with you being like one of the OG, like, GLP-1 people that actually came on TikTok and was like, I'm going to be vulnerable and post my journey. I can't imagine feeling like you have nowhere to look and like no community. And like, so I commend you for like, starting and being one of the first people to post your journey and like allowing other people like Chris and I to feel like, the strength to also post our journey. So I think that's awesome.
I know that you had mentioned like you didn't see like a lot of GLP-1 creators when you had posted. What kind of feedback was it that you were getting whenever you came out and had said that you were starting a GLP-1?
It was mostly negative. Like the trolls were out to get you. You were lazy. Put the spoon down. This is poison that you're putting into your system. But every few comments, you would find somebody saying, "I'm taking it too," but they weren't posting content. So you would start to find community through other people, and then people would start coming back to your comments, and you would start to recognize the same names. I think where it really started to I really saw a community that was really there was when I switched from 2.5 milligrams to 5.
Yeah.
You were technically supposed to stay on a dose, like as long as you possibly could. We know that now, right? While it's working. Back then, the physician said, okay, you lost
Yeah.
10 pounds your first month. Great job. Here's the next dose. And I remember I posted a video and the video went viral because I had every single side effect and I had all of the supplements that I was trying and it wasn't helping. And at that point, that's where like I started to see more names and people showing up. And then I realized there is a bigger community here.
You had like
People
a
just
breakthrough.
don't talk about it. Yeah.
I love that though, because I do feel like you and a lot of like the OG creators really paved the way for like creators now, you know, like me and Tay. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for you guys like going on the internet and sharing your journey, because I do feel like if there wasn't you guys, I don't even know if I would feel brave enough to do it.
No. Yeah, I know I wouldn't.
I would be shaking my
I'll tell you, for me, it was scary like the first time I ever went live. And I owe it to a friend who actually shared this with me. When I would go live, I wouldn't see people of my complexion. I wouldn't see people of my culture. And I thought, we don't believe in medicine. Like we are taught, do not do medicine, do tea. Like abuelita's teas is what will help you. And I had a friend during the journey. She was like 2-3 weeks ahead of me. And she was like, I need you to show up, not for my community. I need you to show up for your community, because there are people that are looking for you.
Aww.
You look like them. You talk like them. You have hair color like them. You're somebody that resonates with your face. And they're looking for you. So get out there and break the stigma. And I remember being so terrified. And I even said to her, do you really think I can do this? And she's like, I think you can. I see no one else like you doing it. Do it. I was terrified, but I think like now it just has allowed us to see that anyone of any color, any race, any culture, any religion can take a GLP-1, and you can find someone in this app, in this space, that shares your journey now.
Yes. And now look at you. You go live like every day and you have like a whole community on there, and it's just so great to see. I love that for you.
Yeah. And I love that you said that you can find your community anywhere. So if anybody is out there and like feeling alone, like you can, like Annie literally just said, like you have a community out there, and we owe it to people like Annie who were able to be vulnerable and go on the internet and, you know, post their journeys and stuff like that and bring our communities together. So I just think, you know, we're forever grateful for you.
So if a lot of you guys don't know, Annie, how long have you been taking a GLP-1, or how long have you been taking a GLP-1?
It'll be 3 years in July.
Oh my gosh, I love that for you. And right now you are in maintenance. So when was a specific moment when you realized, okay, I think I'm ready to shift into maintenance?
So I always had a number, and I know there's people that have a number and there's people that have a goal health style. Everybody's a little different. For me, I always remember a number. I remember a part of me at some point in my life being 120 pounds. And that was the number that I had chosen for myself. I said, I remember this number, and I felt healthy then. So I hit that goal January of 2023.
Aww.
And I said, I do not want to lose anymore. I'm like, I'm done. I'm happy and content here. And so at that point, there were not a lot of people on maintenance. I think there were maybe like 5 sharing their active journey at that time. And so there wasn't guidance. And I decided, all right, like, how can I stop losing weight? And the first step was, okay, how about I eat more? I need to eat more. I can't be in a calorie deficit. And I started eating more, and I was able to stay on my dose, which was 7.5. I stayed on 7.5 through a chunk of my maintenance journey. And then eventually I dropped down to 5. So we're all a little different when it comes to maintenance.
Perfect. Yeah. So my question was going to be like, what is like your happy? Because I know a lot of people have like a dose where, you know, I know of a few of our friends that are on maintenance now. They're like, you know, 15 mgs is like where it's at. And like, I love that dose. And like, that's where they stay at. So you're on 5 now. That's been working for you. And awesome. Yeah.
My best dose was probably 7.5.
Okay.
I was on it for 19 months.
Oh my
and
God.
Wow.
Oh my God, guys, if you were listening, that is proof that like there is no reason to titrate up if you don't have to. Annie just said she was on a dose for 19 months. Like that,
I love that
right there.
Yeah, because I feel like I get that question a lot. Like, how long is too long to be on a dose? You know, and I feel like you're the perfect person to answer that, because you know you've been on this medication for 3 years now, and you saying that you were on that dose for 19 months. Like, there you have it.
Yeah, no, that's
now
amazing.
5 for a year. So
Wow.
It's possible to find the dose that works for you and just use it as long as you can. And what I tell people is, I know sometimes we get the food noise back. Don't get me wrong. I've never said I don't get food noise, but it's more manageable and more controlled. Like I can actually control how much I eat versus what I ate before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a very, very big misconception that some people have. Like when you start this medication, you will no longer be hungry. And whenever you feel hunger, they like freak out. But it's like, you're still going to want to eat.
Yeah. And you still need to eat. Like nutrients are so like that's literally how you continue losing weight and how your body stays healthy is like making sure that you're giving your body the proper nutrients. So like getting into like the realm of like food and stuff like that, like would you say transitioning from being active on a GLP-1 and like actively losing to going from like being on maintenance now and in like a maintenance dose, do you feel like your relationship with food has changed at all? Do you feel like your diet is a little bit different? Like are you cooking more often, or like how does like what are your like go-to like meals, or like what's your relationship with food like now?
So I would say, like, as a former binge eater that ate to cope with feelings, I don't engage in those behaviors anymore.
That's amazing.
I have learned that food is nutrition. It's fuel for your body. So for me, like anytime I'm having like an emotional moment, I find something else. And music is usually my first go-to. Or like now like TikTok or editing, like something else that can take away your mind from food. As for cooking, I do notice that I do cook a lot more at home, and as a mom of two, and I call them my broke besties because they're teenagers. As a mom of two, they are. I have learned just how to cook more proteins or infuse my food with protein and removing some of the oil. Like they don't notice the flavor changes, but I'm making more protein in my diet without them realizing it.
I have to ask, because we get asked this all the time. What are your favorite protein packed foods or snacks? Like you just cannot live without, because we get asked that so often, and I'd love to hear yours.
So I'm a huge fan of beef jerky, but it has to be Jack Links. It can't be anything else, and it has to be the teriyaki flavor. Otherwise,
yes,
we
I love
knew
the
it.
teriyaki flavor.
Yeah,
she knows flavor. Yeah, Miss Annie knows some flavor.
I'll also do like Bear Those are good, but only cookies and cream. I'm a very big girly of like having my water that has protein in it as well. A good coffee with protein, like as my creamer instead, is my favorite. Like I live on coffee. I need coffee for like the day. But what is it? The wild chips, the buffalo flavors, they're just key.
Wait, I've never heard of those.
Yeah.
Wild chips?
Wild chips. They have like a bunch of different flavors, but they're delicious. They actually have like an airy feel to them.
Let me add that to my
wild chips. Where do you find those, do you think?
Target.
Target. I knew you would say
we
Target.
Love Target.
Target is that girl.
We love Target.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quest is like my second now. Like Quest has a few good flavors of the chips, but like every once in a while you just need something crunchy.
Yes. I agree.
Oh, we're texture girls. We love something crunchy. Like anything crunchy, we're like we're sad.
I gotta ask, Annie, do you like the cottage cheese?
I do, but only with pineapple.
Ooh, okay.
Not on its own. Not on its own.
I love a cottage cheese and fruit moment. That's just like the best creation ever. I have to say, like talking about like food and like water and all this stuff, it's just making me feel a little, like dehydrated,
a little thirsty, a little dehydrated.
Like,
Annie, we must ask. What is your choice of cup? What is your choice of cup for your water?
Coldest.
Period. Are you a Stanley girl?
I became a Stanley girl because of Amble. They gave me a free one. Otherwise, I was not.
We do love her.
Wait, yeah, like coldest water bottle. Like, is that what you're saying? Like the cold. I'm a blonde, so I'm thinking you're talking about like the coldest temperature.
Ooh.
Or do you mean like the coldest water bottle brand?
It's the brand Coldest.
I've heard. Oh my god! Literally, me and Tara blonde AF right now. We're like.
Besties, it comes with all of the caps that you need. Like all of them.
Wait, so it has like your different caps? Oh, wait, are we gonna get on like the coldest water bottle trend now?
I don't know. We might.
You should
have to,
because it went from Stanley to Owala. I got her on Owala. Now I feel like now Annie's gonna get us on the coldest water bottle.
Yeah, honestly,
the chug cap, everything. Like I was like, oh my god, this is real. It comes with everything.
Do you have it there?
Really big ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Oh
my god! Wait, one more thing for us to spend our money on. One thing about us is we love spending money. So like on this podcast too, like we've noticed, like especially with our like listeners, they'll always tell us like, no, you guys talk about this and I bought it. And then like her and I just feed off of each other too. We're like, oh my god,
oh,
like,
we're bad. We're bad. Like literally, if I say I want something, Taylor's like, oh wait, I want that too. And then I'm like, okay, if you do it, I'll do it too. And then we're on our way to Sephora.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the most expensive journey I have ever been on. I was not a makeup girly. I was not a skincare girly until I like started losing my weight and becoming more confident about myself. Now I'm a whole total. Yeah, I'm like, the makeup is for me. It's not for anyone else. I don't care who's out there to impress. This is how good I feel. So I'm going to do my makeup.
I love that.
that.
Honestly, I
Yeah.
love that so much. That kind of actually brings me into my next question that I want to ask you. If you could go back to the beginning of your GLP-1 journey and talk to yourself, what is something that you would tell yourself back then?
Document more. Document more, take more pictures, take more measurements, stop following somebody else's journey, follow your
I
own.
love that. I love that. I'm really big on that. Stop following somebody else's journey and do your own, because I think,
Yeah.
especially nowadays with social media, it is so easy to get stuck in someone else's journey and want to be in their shoes and not your own. I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think a lot of like, and Annie, I'm sure you experienced this too with like a lot of your followers, is that I think the number one thing that I notice and I try to kind of like help my followers with is they're always comparing themselves to other people's journeys. And especially in my comments too, you know, I feel bad, and I often feel bad about even posting my success sometimes, because they'll say things like, oh, I'm only down, you know, 3 pounds in the last 3 weeks. And I'm like, no, like that's amazing. Like, don't bring yourself down, you know? So I think that that's something that a lot of people can hear and listen to, is that like, don't compare yourself to other people. And that like, that's, if we could all go back, like we know that we would tell ourselves like, don't compare yourself, because everybody's journey is different. So I really love that you mentioned that.
Yes. And the whole feel like when you see yourself every day, it's hard to see a difference. And whenever you like put 2 photos next to each other, you're like, oh, wow. I feel like I had that moment the other day. I'm like, am I really losing weight? And I saw a video of me compared to another video, and I'm like, damn, she's kind of like a molecule now.
It's a lot of like loving ourselves, but we also start to experience, like we just did an episode on the imposter syndrome. Like you start to, it's weird. It's a weird journey. You're learning to love yourself, but at the same time, you're experiencing things like, no, did I actually lose 10 pounds? Like, am I actually down 80 pounds? Like, am I, you know, you feel like you don't feel like you're actually doing the work, or that you're actually seeing the, you know, the progress. And sometimes it can be like, it's like mind games sometimes. So
yeah, like a GLP-1 journey is not all physical. I think it's a lot to do with mental and emotional, because you're on a journey, like you're just going up and down. So I think 100% that.
No, it's just crazy how everybody's like kind of like journeys. I feel like we all kind of like mesh together in a way. I would love to ask you, we're kind of like, I know we're like coming at you with questions, but I would love to ask you next, if someone was getting close to starting maintenance, like say they're about to hit their goal weight and they're thinking, you know, should I start maintenance? Should I not start maintenance? Or, you know, if they've decided they're going into maintenance, what would be some advice that you would give them? Any tips, anything like that?
I would say, like, when you're approaching like 5 to 10 pounds away from your goal weight, I know that it's really slow, and you're like, oh my God, it's not happening fast enough. I think that's the point when you should start already slowly increasing your caloric intake to your maintenance level, because it's not going to be an easy thing overnight to do. And when you do it, your body loses actually more weight. There are so many times that I remember when I was like at my goal weight that I increased my calories so fast that I dropped more weight out of nowhere. And people who have been on a maintenance journey can now tell you that, like, I didn't want to lose any more weight. It just, as I up my caloric intake to normal levels, my weight kept on dropping. So I would say, as you're approaching, already start figuring out like what are those levels that you're going to need for your calories, and start slowly chipping away at them rather than doing it all at once to like train your body.
So are there any, like, for maybe anybody listening, are there any, because you've been on it, I feel like a lot longer than Chris and I, especially, like, is there tools that you use to look at like your caloric intake and stuff like that? Or
I personally am not a calorie tracker person. As somebody with a binge eating disorder, it's really hard to like listen to an app when it yells at you when you're not meeting your goals, and then you can fall easily into like a binge eating cycle.
That's true.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's hard, and I feel like MyFitnessPal did that to me so many times.
Oh my God.
Your day doesn't count because you didn't hit your calories. So then you run to your pantry, to your fridge, and you're like,
me and that app have beef.
No,
I had it for a solid day, and I was like, you're not the one for me.
Yeah. Oh my God. And like Annie, where you were like, you're like, well, my whole day is ruined, and you run to your fridge and you just binge. I had that happen to me, especially in high school. Like, me and MyFitnessPal had a toxic relationship. Like, and I would do that where it's like, well, you know, I'm already 10 calories over my calories for the day. I'm going to go binge, you know, 1,000 calories now.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what my mindset would tell me, and that I would do. So I like that you said that, like, you don't track anything. I think that that's a big question that a lot of people have. They're like, people ask me that all the time. They're like, do you have a set 100% calories that you hit every single day? And I always tell people no. And they're like, well, how are you losing weight?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just being mindful about what I'm putting in my body, you know, like, and I'm focusing on protein and water. And I don't say that I need to hit 1,500 calories and that's it. You know, like, I don't do that. So,
well, I think a lot of people think that when you're on a GLP-1, you can't eat certain things anymore, and you can no longer touch that. And, you know, we're very big on just like moderation, you know, is key.
Yeah. Well, that's what like heals that, especially when you've dealt with binging, is like, if anything that I've learned from binging is when I tell myself I can't have something, my binging mind wants it 10 times more. So that's never worked for me, saying like, I can't, because if I tell myself I can't have a Dairy Queen Blizzard, I crave it. I'm like, I need a Dairy Queen Blizzard. Like, I'm like, you know, it's like,
Maybe you don't need the large one. You might need the mini, and you'll have two bites of it, and you're like, I'm done with this.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's the difference now. That's the difference in like how this is healing us. It's like, I do get a mini now, and I'm fine with the mini. Before it was a large. Okay, like it was a large.
Now, I will tell you, like the girlies that I met throughout the journey that like felt like me, like I really am not a tracker person. You might want to document on a notebook. I met so many girlies who had notebooks of what they ate in the morning, what they ate for lunch, what they ate for dinner. Like there are so many great journals out there that you could use. Are there apps that are amazing? Yeah, I mean, Calorie, Verytastic. There's so many different ones out there. Just find what works for you and know that like an app may not be for you, and it's okay for that app not to be for you.
Yeah,
I love that. I have a question for you, Annie, because I feel like I get this a lot. And I think, actually, I know you're like very educated, and I love watching your lives. I love watching your videos because I feel like I always learn something from you. But I have seen you talk about this before, and I love the way that you talk about it. And I literally think about it all the time. People ask me, if I started GLP-1, do I have to stay on this forever?
I think that's very dependent on the person. And I think people have to understand that while this is approved for weight loss and type 2 and sleep apnea, it's not going to immediately cause weight loss because it has to treat whatever the metabolic dysfunction was that was in your system. So if a dosage isn't working for you, that's okay. Your body's getting used to like that medication going into your system and helping to regulate whatever was that issue in your body. But then if it doesn't work, then get to your next one, have conversations with your doctor. And I think that a lot of people just want instant gratification, and we tend to forget that we did not pack on the weight overnight. It took us years.
Yes.
So give yourself some grace. If you lost 0.25 pounds in a week, fantastic.
Yeah.
If something moved, that is good. If it didn't move, it's okay. It's your way to reflect, okay, what do I need to change? Did I eat enough this week? Because I would tell you that the majority of the times what I have seen in this community has been that people aren't eating enough, but they think they are because they have so much suppression going on, and not eating puts your metabolism at an even more
they're slowing down
rate.
the metabolic rate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely something. I did a lot of research about that in the beginning of my journey, because people would tell me, you know, you're eating too much, or maybe you're not eating enough. And I was like, okay, but then I read that like the term starvation mode is actually fake. Like that's not a real term technically. But then I did more research, and it's not starvation mode. Like your body technically won't eat away at its fat, but what happens is the metabolic rate slows down, and then that's exactly why you stop losing the weight. And I was like, this makes sense, because I was like, why? I never understood the whole thing with like you're eating too much, you're eating too little. And when everything clicked, and once, I think a lot of people too, I'm gonna like, maybe I don't want to say like rant, but I think with you said the instant gratification thing, I think that's something that a lot of us we've struggled to lose weight before. And I know that all of us that are on a GLP-1, like that's the reason why we're on it, is we've struggled to lose weight. So I think that even the second that we see 1 pound drop from that scale and it starts working, and maybe we didn't lose 1 pound this week, like you said, we lost 0.25 pounds, then we're like, oh my God, something's not working. I'm doing something wrong. And then people get really anxious, and then they're not getting that instant gratification. And it's like, am I doing something wrong?
Yeah.
But I think that's something that really helped me in my journey is just doing research. Just sitting down and learning, like, what is a normal rate for me to lose weight on a GLP-1? What should I be doing? And so just to hear that from you who've been on it for 3 years now, and learning that this is how you also were able to cope, and like learn that everything that you were doing was good because you were doing the research and stuff. I just think that's a message for people, that it's normal to not lose 3 pounds a week, and that it's normal to have a slower weight loss sometimes. And that research is important to learn like what works for your body and what doesn't.
Yeah. And I love that you said that, we didn't gain weight overnight. We didn't get where we are overnight. So it's like, why do you expect yourself to lose all that weight overnight? And yesterday, I'll be very vulnerable. Like I was not having a good day. I was feeling very not confident, and just like I wasn't doing enough. And I literally just remember you saying that, Annie. And I just, that really got me through that phase, because you're right. Like I did not gain all of this weight overnight. So why do I expect my body to drop it all like this? So I think that's very important advice. And I think you were the perfect person to ask that too.
And I think I'll tell you, like, I have those moments too. Like, I'm speaking from my own experience of wanting it to be faster, of watching somebody else's journey be faster, but me not understanding what their conditions were, what was going on with their body, how they were eating. I was comparing myself so much to somebody else that I was not present for myself enough and realizing, girl, like you're losing way too fast. You're going to lose some hair. And when I started to see the hair loss, and I definitely know, and I'm very honest and upfront about this, I know I have muscle loss. I'm not as strong as I used to be, and I can't lift what I used to. So I do really recommend, like, take it slow. Anywhere from half a pound to 2 pounds per week is good, sustainable weight loss. Try to keep your hair, try to keep your muscle. Like, you want to do it the right way. And if you need those moments of instant gratification, grab an old pair of clothes that you haven't worn from last season. Go put on some rings, try some shoes, like go do those apps that like look at your whole like body from the beginning. That's going to give you some moments of gratification. Old pictures, they help.
Those non-scale victories.
I cannot tell you how much, Annie, I really honestly needed to hear that, especially like you saying, I think honestly that's going to be the motto of this episode. Like, do not lose sight of your own journey because you're too focused on somebody else's. I love that so much.
I know, in the way she said be present, like you're not being present in your own journey. I was like, oh my God. I was like, wait, like that's, like we have to be present in our own lives and our own journeys. And that's like super important. I think that this has been an amazing episode, but before we let you go, Preston and I had this idea to, just so like our listeners can get to know you, especially if they don't know like who Lose It With Annie is, because we just think you're an amazing person. We would love to do like a little like rapid fire, like maybe just like some personal questions, like just to like for everybody to get to know you, and maybe even your listeners, they might not, your followers might not know a few things about you. So we would love to just ask you a few little things. I would love to go first. What is like your number one, like, do you have like a hyperfixation meal right now, or like what's your go-to meal that you're loving?
Chick-fil-A mac and cheese with grilled chicken nuggets with the honey roasted barbecue.
Oh, the honey roasted barbecue sauce is so slept on. It has so many less calories than the Chick-fil-A sauce, but it tastes very similar to me. I'm glad that you like the sauce too.
Have you ever tried their kale salad, Annie?
I don't like kale salad anymore.
Oh, okay, I get that.
That like was a turnoff from weight loss journeys from past.
I get that.
I gotcha. She's been trying to get me to try that kale salad.
It's I like it, but I can totally see where that's coming from though. Like the mac and cheese is fire. It's fire.
I thought it's so good.
Kids meal. It's a kids meal. Like I don't even go for the adult size. The kids meal. Save myself some money.
I love that. Okay. What's one thing that you do for self-care?
I do my nails.
Oh, I love that. You do your own nails?
But I get like press-ons.
Oh my gosh. Those are cute. Like the cat eye. Those are really pretty.
I would have never thought those were press-ons.
No, me either. Hello? What's your vendor?
Wait, where do you get those from?
OPI.
Okay, we love a bougie girl.
Yeah. She said they're press-on, but they're Ulta.
But don't get me twisted, girl. They might be press-ons, but don't get me twisted, girl.
Nobody
OPI. So what is like one like mantra or like motto affirmation that you live by?
Oh, you got this.
Oh, I love that.
That's it. Like, and then that's in everything in life. You got this. You might not be able to do it just yet, but you're gonna get it.
Wait, I love that one.
Yeah, they're praying.
Like that, like healed like something like my inner child a little bit. I love that. Okay, that's cute. Yeah, I just because have you guys ever heard of This Too Shall Pass?
Yes.
I think that's my favorite one. Not that like that was my question, but I love that one. That's a really good, like with anxiety and stuff like that. Like as an anxious girly, like This Too Shall Pass has always been my go-to mantra. Like love that one. That's
Okay, what is your favorite book, podcast, or show that you have been like obsessed with lately?
Okay, so The Handmaid's Tale and Grey's Anatomy.
Yes. Okay. I'm so excited that you said that because literally I am obsessed, and I just started the new season because I was trying to catch up, but I was like, no, I have to get on because I don't want to get any spoilers.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
Now I need to watch it.
Find me a housemaid girly.
I was gonna say, Chris has been like, Taylor, you need to watch The Housemaid's Tale, and I'm like, or The Handmaid's Tale, and I'm like, Handmaid. I'm like, okay, like I will. But honestly, I think what actually encouraged me as a Swiftie is like Taylor Swift's new song was featured in the new episode, and I was like, okay, fine, maybe.
Oh, period. I have not gone. Annie, have you finished the newest season yet or no?
No, they say you should record yourself watching the last episode.
Oh God, I'm scared.
Wait, you guys need to do that and then post it. I'm sad for that. I think I'm sad to like see your guys' reaction.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's like a good reaction, a bad reaction, if I'm going to cry. I don't know, but I'm ready.
One last question that I have for you is like, so, we talked about like your maintenance and you're in that like maintenance chapter of your life right now. And what would you say is like one word to describe this like new chapter or like, season of your life right now?
Oh my God. Evolving.
We love an evolving queen.
Yeah.
Snapping for you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just evolving. I mean, maintenance is forever. Like, it's a forever journey, but I will be stepping into the surgery part where, like, skin removal.
Oh my God.
So just evolving into the next chapter of my story.
I love that so much.
Yeah, I love that. And also, like, just like a side note too about, I think I just saw you do that like Shelby Ann makeup. Girl, first of all, like your skin, like just everything, like you devoured. So like evolving, I feel like is such a good word because like
no crumbs left.
And I was like, oh my God, I was like, she ate that up. Like I was like, one thing about Annie, she's gonna beat her face. Like that was, it was so good.
Annie 3 years ago, looking at you now, she's probably crying right now and like just cheering for you so hard.
Mm-hmm. She is. And if you ever go back and like my whole journey is always, it's there. If you go back and you see Annie, July of 2022, you do not see the same person. She was so in her shell. She was afraid. She was a big people pleaser. So like she was always worried about what somebody else had to think about her before what she thought about herself. Mm-hmm. And so like, I definitely think my GLP-1 journey has been that like evolving journey, like allowing myself to believe in myself, to think about myself, and to not really care what anyone else out there has to think about me. And if they love my journey, I love that. They love that. But if they want to give their negative biases, I'm like, you're entitled to your opinion, but I don't have to accept your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
About how I treat my body.
I feel like so many people listening can relate to that, you know, because being on a GLP-1 journey, even just for 3 months, like I feel like I've gained more confidence back than I have in so long. And, you know, you being on it for 3 years, like you are literally that girl. That's who you are.
I was gonna say like Annie is like who I want to be. Annie is who I want to be in like in 2 years, like Annie is who I want to be. Mm-hmm. And I just think that you like I'm very appreciative for you coming on here and sharing your journey for you know our listeners and followers. I know that it's definitely going to resonate with a bunch of people. I know it resonated with me and Chris a lot. Like I know like I just feel like I feel inspired and like empowered just from your story alone. So thank you for coming on here and talking to us.
Thank you so much, Annie. I feel like your journey is such a beautiful reminder to everyone that's listening that might be on a GLP-1 journey. That a GLP-1 is not the whole story. It's the way that you show up for yourself that really matters.
Absolutely. And I think it's amazing both of you are sharing your stories because again, we all have different stories that we have to share, different conditions. Like I love bringing in and talking about like PCOS and how PCOS affects so many women. And it's not something that like just chooses one specific woman. It chooses like it just happens to you. And many of us can develop it out of nowhere. And it's so nice to have that sisterhood. And I mean it with the pun, sisterhood. Where you can literally see yourself and you're like, girl, I have that too. Mm-hmm. How do I get to my goal? And you just got to give your body time and let the medication take care of your body.
Amen. Yeah. Amen.
Yes. Amen. Amen, sister. To our listeners, I just want to say that if you've been feeling alone lately, I just think this is yet another, I know we talk about this a lot on our, our podcast, but I think this is yet another just, thing that we're able to show you guys is that you're not alone. And that I loved having you on here, Annie, and especially speaking about your community and how you've been able to bring people together, especially with like your culture and everything like that. I think that's absolutely amazing. I know that again, we're appreciative of people like you in the community that's been able to bring us all together. So whoever you are, wherever you are out there, you're not alone in this journey at all. And just, be mindful and be present. Like Annie said, I love that she said that. Be present in your journey. And again, we're just very thankful for you coming on
we're so
sharing your journey with us.
Before we get off though, Annie, I'd love for you to share your socials or if you have anything else you want to share, this is your time because me and Taylor are so thankful. I know that we said it in our last episode, but this is like the dose of it is literally like our baby. And so we were, when we were kind of like coming up with who our first guest should be, it was like no doubt in our mind that it should be you. So we are so, so grateful and so appreciative of your time for coming on to the dose of it as our first guest.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you both for having me. You guys are both amazing. And I don't think you're realizing like the impact that you're making for so many women, like the age groups. Like it's so important to like stand up and stay out there and show people like we can do it. You guys can find me on pretty much every social media platform as Lose It with Annie. And Annie has actually lost it.
I love that. Annie has actually lost it. I love that.
I made that moniker in 2016. Hoping that I would lose the weight one day. And I actually...
Yeah. And you did. And you're literally proof
that we can. That's like a full circle freaking moment. That's a full circle moment. That is crazy.
Yeah. Just make sure that you guys do go ahead and give Annie a follow because we are so appreciative of her coming on here and sharing her journey. Chris and I said in the beginning of this, Annie was literally one of the first GLP-1 creators that I found on this app. And I was like, oh, follow. Immediately click that follow buttons. Definitely she's one of the GLP-1 OGs. So definitely make sure that you go out and give her a follow. If you're not already subscribed to The Dose of It, make sure that you do click that subscribe button and also make sure that you follow us here on Spotify. And that as always, if you guys have any questions or comments, we'd love to see it in the comments. We'd love when you guys chat with us and share your opinions and share how this episode connected with you. And again, we're just so appreciative of any of you spending time with us today.
Yes. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, friends.